The Baron's twisted reasoning was that the helpless, paralyzed Zara would only serve to torment and demoralize the human slave, Kiran, eventually leading to his demise. What the cruel alien ruler failed to anticipate was the depth of Kiran's compassion and the true strength that lay dormant within Zara's brilliant mind. As the Baron's armed guards unceremoniously deposited Zara's motionless body into Kiran's sparse living quarters, the young human was overcome with a mix of pity, fear, and uncertainty. The girl seemed entirely paralyzed, her eyes the only sign of life as they darted about the unfamiliar surroundings. "What am I supposed to do with this?" Kiran stammered, unable to hide the trepidation in his voice. The guards simply sneered, clearly relishing the human's obvious discomfort. "The Baron has seen fit to gift you with his daughter. You should be honored to serve her in whatever way you can, slave." With that, they turned and departed, leaving Kiran alone with the helpless Zara. Kiran cautiously approached the bed where Zara lay, unsure of how to even begin caring for her. To his astonishment, a voice suddenly echoed within his mind, soft and pleading. "Please, help me," Zara whispered telepathically. "I know you are afraid, but I beg you, do not abandon me to my fate." Taken aback, Kiran stared down at the girl, his heart racing. You can speak to me. How is this possible?" "My body is paralyzed, but my mind remains unbound," Zara replied. "The Baron sees me as nothing more than a weakness, a burden to be discarded. But I sense a goodness in you, a compassion the Baron could never understand. Will you help me?" Kiran was utterly confounded. Everything about this situation defied logic. How could this young alien girl communicate with him telepathically? And why would the Baron, a notoriously cruel ruler, gift him with his own disabled daughter as some twisted joke? As he gazed into Zara's pleading eyes, however, Kiran felt a stirring of empathy that overpowered his initial fear and uncertainty. There was an intelligence and depth to this girl that belied her helpless physical state. Somehow, he knew he could not simply abandon her to the Baron's callous whims. I don't know how I can help you," Kiran admitted, "but I won't leave you at the mercy of that monster. Tell me what I can do." Zara's eyes seemed to brighten with relief. "Then we must work together, you and I. There is more to me than meets the eye. My paralysis is not a weakness, but rather a barrier concealing my true potential. If you are willing to help me, we may uncover powers that could change the very course of our lives." Kiran nodded slowly, his mind racing with 1,000 questions, but his resolve hardening. "All right, Zara, I'm listening. Tell me what I need to do." As the young human and the mysterious alien girl began to forge an unlikely alliance, unbeknownst to them, the wheels of a grand, terrifying plan had already been set in motion by the cruel Baron. Little did they know the true depths of the dangers that now threatened to consume them both. In the days that followed, Kiran found himself immersed in a whirlwind of uncertainty and intrigue as he strove to unravel the mysteries surrounding Zara and her paralysis. The young alien girl's telepathic abilities had caught him completely off guard, shattering any preconceptions he'd held about the nature of her condition. As Kiran tended to Zara's basic needs, feeding her, keeping her comfortable, and monitoring her health, he was struck by the sharp contrast between her helpless physical state and the keen, probing intelligence that shone through her eyes. She seemed to be constantly observing, processing, and analyzing her surroundings, despite her inability to physically interact with them. "Your mind is truly remarkable," Kiran mused one day as he sat by her bedside. "How is it possible that you can communicate with me so clearly when your body remains so completely paralyzed?" Zara's response echoed within his mind, carrying a weight and gravity that belied her young age. "The answer lies in the nature of my species, Kiran. We are not defined by our physical forms, but by the power of our minds. This paralysis is not a weakness, but rather a mental block that conceals my true abilities." Kiran furrowed his brow, trying to wrap his head around the implications of her words. "True abilities, you mean, like the telepathy you've demonstrated?" Zara nodded imperceptibly. That is merely the beginning. My kind are capable of feats far beyond the comprehension of most other species: telekinesis, psionic manipulation of technology, even the ability to commune with the very fabric of the universe itself. But this paralysis, inflicted upon me by my own father, has suppressed those powers. Kiran felt a chill run down his spine. The Baron, he did this to you. But why? How could a father do such a thing to his own child? The Baron sees me as nothing more than a weakness, a liability to be discarded, Zara replied, her mental voice tinged with a trace of bitterness. In his twisted mind, gifting me to you as a pet was a cruel jape. He expected my condition would only serve to break your spirit, and that you would be unable to care for me. Curran's hands clenched into fists, anger welling up within him. That bastard! How dare he treat you like some disposable object? He paused, taking a deep breath to calm himself. But you said your true abilities. Does that mean there's a way to unlock them? To free you from this paralysis? Zara's eyes seemed to bore into him, her mental voice carrying a note of urgency. Yes, Karan, if you are willing to help me, I believe there is a way. But it will not be easy, and the risks are grave. The Baron and his forces will stop at nothing to reclaim me, for they fear the power that I could wield. Karan didn't hesitate. I don't care about the risks. After seeing how you've been treated, I can't just sit by and do nothing. Tell me what I need to do. A glimmer of hope flickered in Zara's eyes. Then we must begin your training immediately. You must learn to quiet your mind, to connect with the very fabric of the universe. Only then can we hope to unlock the full extent of my abilities and forge a path to freedom. As Karan nodded with determination, he knew he was embarking on a perilous journey, one that would pit him and Zara against the formidable might of the Baron and his empire. But in the face of such cruelty and injustice, he had no choice but to stand and fight, no matter the cost. The battle lines had been drawn, and the fate of two unlikely allies now hung in the balance. Over the following weeks, Karan immersed himself in a grueling regimen of mental training under Zara's patient tutelage. Though his human mind had never before conceived of the esoteric powers that the young alien girl possessed, he found himself driven by a determination to unlock her true potential. As Zara guided him through intricate exercises in meditation and focus, Kiran gradually began to sense the subtleties of the cosmic energies that permeated the very fabric of the universe. At first, the sensations were fleeting and difficult to grasp, but with each passing day, his awareness and control grew stronger. I can feel it, Zara, he murmured during one particularly deep trance-like state. The ebb and flow of the energy. It's almost like I can reach out and manipulate it. Excellent, Karan, Zara's mental voice replied, a note of pride evident. You're a quick study. Now focus that energy inward towards the blockage that constrains my physical form. Kiran did as instructed, channeling his newfound psionic abilities to gently probe the barriers that kept Zara paralyzed. At first, the resistance was formidable, an unyielding mental wall that seemed impenetrable. But through sheer force of will, Kiran slowly began to chip away at the obstruction, feeling it gradually yielding under the weight of his concentrated effort. Suddenly, Zara's eyes widened, and a gasp escaped her lips. I can feel it, Karan. The blockage is weakening. Your energy is starting to break through. Emboldened by her words, Kiran redoubled his focus, pouring every ounce of his mental strength into the task at hand. Slowly but surely, the barrier began to crumble, and Zara's body started to twitch and tremble as the paralysis began to recede. Keep going, Karan, Zara urged, her mental voice tinged with a mixture of exhilaration and apprehension. You're nearly there, just a little more. With a final Herculean effort, Kiran felt the last vestiges of the mental block dissolve, and Zara's body jerked upright, her limbs flailing as sensation and motor control flooded back into them. For a long moment, the two stared at each other in stunned silence, the gravity of what they had accomplished hanging thick in the air. Then, to Kiran's utter amazement, Zara raised a trembling hand and grasped his own, a radiant smile spreading across her face. You've done it, Karan, she whispered, her voice now audible rather than just a telepathic projection. The barrier is broken. I can feel my powers awakening. The true extent of my abilities is finally within my grasp. Kiran could scarcely believe his eyes. Zara, I don't know what to say. I didn't even know if what we were attempting was possible, and yet. It is more than possible, Zara interrupted, her eyes burning with a newfound intensity. It is our only hope for freedom. The Baron and his forces will stop at nothing to reclaim me now that my powers have been unleashed. We must act quickly, before they discover what has transpired. Kiran nodded, his expression hardening with determination. Then tell me what we need to do. I'm ready to fight alongside you, Zara, no matter the cost. The young alien girl squeezed his hand, her gaze filled with a profound gratitude. Then let us begin, my friend. The battle for our lives and our future is about to commence. As Kiran and Zara prepared to face the looming threats that the Baron's forces now posed, the air crackled with a sense of impending conflict. The stage was set for a clash of wills and powers, one that would undoubtedly reshape the course of their lives forever. News of Zara's miraculous recovery and the awakening of her formidable psionic abilities spread like wildfire through the Baron's empire, igniting a firestorm of paranoia and fear within the cruel ruler's heart. The Baron had never anticipated that his gift to the human slave Kiran would backfire so spectacularly. The thought of his own daughter wielding such immense power that could potentially challenge his ironclad grip on the galaxy, was a prospect that filled him with unbridled rage and terror. Impossible, the Baron roared, slamming his fist against the armrest of his throne. That pathetic human wretch was supposed to be incapable of caring for her, let alone unlocking her accursed abilities. The Baron's most trusted advisors cowered before his fury, wisely remaining silent. They knew all too well the consequences of incurring the wrath of their lord and master. Finally, one of the advisors, a cold-eyed military commander, spoke up. "My lord, we have already dispatched our elite guard to the humans' quarters. They will retrieve the girl and dispose of the human immediately." The Baron's eyes narrowed to slits, his lips curling into a cruel sneer. "See that it is done, General. Bring me Zara's head as proof of your success, and make sure the human suffers a most agonizing demise." With a curt nod, the general turned and hurried from the throne room, signaling his most seasoned soldiers to mobilize without delay. Time was of the essence. They could not afford to let Zara and Kiran escape the Baron's clutches. Back in Kiran's modest living quarters, the young human and the newly empowered Zara were feverishly making preparations for their desperate bid for freedom. Kiran had already gathered what meager supplies and resources they could scavenge, while Zara focused her mental prowess on locating a viable means of transportation. "The Baron's forces will be upon us soon," Zara said, her eyes narrowed with grim determination. "We must move quickly if we are to have any chance of evading them." Kiran nodded, his expression resolute. "I'm ready, Zara. Whatever it takes, we'll get you out of here and away from that monster's reach." Zara reached out and grasped Kiran's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "You have done so much for me, my friend. I owe you my life, and I will not allow the Baron to take that away." In that moment, the sound of booted feet thundering down the corridor outside drew their attention. Zara's eyes widened as she sensed the approaching presence of the Baron's elite soldiers. "They're here," she breathed. "Kiran, be ready to move on my signal." Kiran tightened his grip on the makeshift weapon he had fashioned, his heart pounding in his chest. As the door to his quarters burst open, he tensed, prepared to fight with every ounce of his being. But before the first of the soldiers could cross the threshold, Zara raised her hand, her eyes glowing with psionic energy. With a casual flick of her wrist, she sent the armored intruders hurtling backwards, their bodies smashing against the far wall with bone-shattering force. Kiran stared in stunned amazement as the remaining soldiers hesitated, their eyes wide with terror at the display of Zara's power. "Now, Karan," the young alien girl yelled, "let us make our escape." Without a moment's hesitation, Kiran followed Zara as she surged forward, her psionic abilities clearing a path through the bewildered soldiers. As they raced down the corridor, Kiran knew that the true test of their mettle was only just beginning, for the Baron would stop at nothing to reclaim his wayward daughter. The battle for their freedom had been joined, and the stakes had never been higher. Kiran's lungs burned as he and Zara sprinted through the winding corridors of the Baron's sprawling palace, the sound of pursuit echoing close behind them. The Baron's elite soldiers, shaken but undeterred by Zara's display of psionic power, were closing in fast. "They're gaining on us," Kiran shouted, casting a fearful glance over his shoulder. "I know," Zara replied, her mental voice strained with concentration. "But I have a plan. Follow me, and be ready to act on my signal." Kiran trusted the young alien girl implicitly, and without hesitation, he fell in step behind her as she navigated the labyrinthine passages. Zara's movements were fluid and decisive, as if she had an innate understanding of the palace's layout. Suddenly, she veered sharply to the right, leading them towards a large set of ornate double doors. Kiran's eyes widened as he recognized the entrance to the Baron's private hangar. "Zara, are you sure about this?" he asked, a note of trepidation in his voice. "Trust me, Karan," she replied, her gaze unwavering. "We must act quickly, before the soldiers catch up to us." Stealing his resolve, Kiran followed Zara as she flung open the hangar doors and sprinted towards a sleek, state-of-the-art shuttle parked at the far end of the cavernous chamber. The sound of the pursuing soldiers grew louder, their shouts and the pounding of their boots echoing off the high walls. As they neared the shuttle, Zara suddenly whirled around, her hand raised in a commanding gesture. Kiran watched in awe as the young girl's eyes began to glow with an otherworldly light, and with a tremendous mental effort, she swept her arm in a wide arc. The massive hangar doors slammed shut with thunderous force, sealing off the entrance and trapping the soldiers outside. Kiran could hear their cries of rage and frustration as they pounded against the unyielding barrier. "Quickly, Kiran," Zara shouted, already moving towards the shuttle's entry ramp. "We must get airborne before they find another way in." Without hesitation, Kiran followed Zara onto the sleek craft, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and exhilaration. As the engines rolled to life, he strapped himself into the co-pilot's seat, his gaze fixed on the hangar doors. "Hold on," Zara called out, her fingers dancing across the shuttle's controls with practiced ease. "This is going to be a rough takeoff." True to her word, the shuttle lurched forward with bone-jarring force, accelerating towards the hangar's exit at a breakneck pace. Kiran gripped the armrests of his seat as the craft burst through the energy shield protecting the hangar, hurtling into the vast expanse of space beyond. Glancing out the viewport, Kiran's eyes widened as he caught a glimpse of the Baron's massive flagship in the distance, its weapons batteries already powering up. "They're going to try to shoot us down," he cried, his voice laced with panic. "I know," Zara replied, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But we're not going to make it easy for them." With a deft maneuver, the young alien girl sent the shuttle into a dizzying, evasive spin, weaving between the barrage of laser fire from the flagship's cannons. Kiran gritted his teeth, his stomach churning with the G-forces, but he refused to look away, his gaze fixed on the rapidly receding form of the Baron's palace. As the shuttle finally broke free of the pursuit, Zara let out a shaky breath, her shoulders slumping with relief. "We did it, Karan," she said, a tremulous smile spreading across her face. "We're free." Karan reached across the console and squeezed Zara's hand, his own expression mirroring her sense of triumph and disbelief. "For now," he murmured, his gaze hardening with determination. "But I have a feeling the Baron is far from finished with us." The open expanse of space now stretched out before them, fraught with uncertainty and peril. But Karan and Zara were united in their resolve to forge a new path, one that would put them on a collision course with the Baron's oppressive regime. The fight for their freedom had only just begun. As the sleek shuttle hurtled through the vast expanse of uncharted space, Kiran found himself alternating between awe and trepidation. The sheer scale of the galaxy stretched out before them was humbling, a seemingly endless tapestry of stars and celestial bodies. And yet, he couldn't shake the unsettling realization that they were now fugitives, fleeing the wrath of the powerful Baron whose brutal grasp they had managed to escape. Beside him, Zara sat at the controls, her eyes narrowed in concentration as she skillfully navigated the shuttle through the treacherous currents of interstellar space. Kiran marveled at the young alien girl's preternatural command of the craft's systems, a testament to the depths of her psionic abilities. "How are you able to do this?" he asked, unable to mask the wonder in his voice. "I've never seen anyone pilot a ship with such effortless precision." Zara glanced over at him, a faint smile playing at the corners of her lips. "The controls are an extension of my mind, Kiran. With my powers unleashed, I can interface with technology on a level that is beyond the comprehension of most species." She paused, her gaze turning inward for a moment. "And yet, I still have so much to learn, so much potential waiting to be unlocked. The Baron's cruel machinations may have suppressed my abilities for years, but now that the barriers are broken, I can feel the true scope of my power stirring within me." Kiran nodded slowly, his mind racing with the implications of her words. "Then what are you planning, Zara? Where are we headed?" The young alien girl's expression hardened with determination. "We cannot simply run and hide, Kiran. The Baron's reach is far-ranging, and he will never cease his pursuit of me. No, we must strike back against his tyrannical rule and free my people from his oppressive yoke." Kiran felt a chill run down his spine at the thought of confronting the fearsome Baron and his formidable forces. But how can we possibly hope to challenge someone with that kind of power? We're just two fugitives in a stolen shuttle. Zara reached across the console and placed her hand on his arm, her gaze steady and reassuring. "You underestimate the true extent of my abilities, my friend. And you also underestimate the strength of the human spirit that you have shown me. Together, I believe we can rally others to our cause and forge a path to victory against the Baron's regime." Kiran searched Zara's eyes, seeing the unwavering conviction that burned within them. Slowly he nodded, his own resolve hardening. "All right, Zara. I'm with you, no matter what. What do we do next?" A glimmer of hope flickered in Zara's expression. "First, we must reach out to the other options within the Baron's empire. As a member of the ruling caste, I have a unique connection to them that I can use to communicate and coordinate our efforts." She paused, her brow furrowing in concentration. "I can already feel their presence, their minds reaching out to me. They are as oppressed and desperate for freedom as I was. If we can band together, we may just have a chance of toppling the Baron's tyrannical rule once and for all." Kiran swallowed hard, the weight of their undertaking suddenly bearing down on him. "Then let's not waste any time. What do you need me to do?" Zara's eyes shone with determination. "Prepare yourself, Kiran, for we are about to embark on a journey that will test the limits of our strength and resolve. The fate of an entire empire rests upon our shoulders." With a deep breath, Kiran squared his shoulders, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He had come this far by trusting in Zara's abilities, and he had no intention of turning back now. The battle for freedom had only just begun. In the days that followed their daring escape from the Baron's palace, Kiran and Zara dedicated themselves wholeheartedly to the young alien girl's ambitious plan. Harnessing the full extent of her psionic abilities, Zara reached out across the vast reaches of the Baron's empire, establishing a clandestine network of communication with other oppressed Fusions. Kiran marveled at the sheer power and precision with which Zara was able to coordinate their efforts, her mental acuity and command of technology allowing her to bypass even the Baron's most sophisticated surveillance and security measures. As she guided him through the intricate steps of their growing resistance, Kiran found himself swept up in the fervent desire for freedom that burned within Zara's heart. "The time has come," Zara announced one day, her eyes shining with a fierce determination. "Our allies are in position, and the Baron's forces are vulnerable. We must strike now, before he can consolidate his power." Kiran felt a surge of trepidation, but he refused to let it show. "What do you need me to do?" Zara placed a hand on his arm, her touch reassuring. "Your bravery and your unwavering support have been invaluable, Kiran. Now, I need you to put your trust in me and in our allies. Together, we will bring the Baron's tyrannical reign to an end." With a nod, Kiran prepared himself for the perilous mission that lay ahead. Zara had spent weeks meticulously planning their attack, carefully coordinating the efforts of the scattered Shins who had pledged their loyalty to the cause of liberation. As the shuttle hurtled towards the Baron's heavily fortified command center, Kiran could feel the tension mounting. Zara sat at the controls, her brow furrowed in concentration, her mind reaching out to synchronize the movements of their allies across the galaxy. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the shuttle, jolting Kiran in his seat. He whirled around to see the Baron's flagship erupting in a fiery display of destruction, its shields overwhelmed by the concentrated assault of the Pshun's combined psionic might. "They've breached the defenses," Zara exclaimed, a triumphant note in her voice. "Now, Kiran, it's our turn to strike." With a flick of her wrist, Zara sent the shuttle hurtling towards the command center, her eyes aglow with the power of her psionic abilities. Kiran braced himself as they approached the imposing structure, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. As they drew close, Zara raised her hand, and Kiran watched in awe as the shuttle's weapon systems activated, unleashing a barrage of devastating energy blasts that pounded against the command center's shields. "Keep them distracted, Kiran," Zara shouted. "I'm going to breach the structure and confront the Baron directly." Kiran nodded, his grip tightening on the shuttle's controls as he maneuvered the craft, evading the retaliatory fire from the command center's defenses. He knew that Zara's confrontation with the Baron would be the turning point of their rebellion. If they failed, all would be lost. With a final powerful strike, Zara's psionic assault shattered the command center's shields, and the young alien girl surged forward, her focus unwavering. Kiran watched anxiously as she disappeared into the breach, his heart pounding in his chest. The next few moments seemed to stretch on for an eternity as Kiran battled to keep the Baron's forces at bay. But just when he felt his strength beginning to waver, a brilliant burst of psionic energy erupted from the command center, bathing the surrounding space in a dazzling display of light. Kiran held his breath, scanning the structure for any sign of Zara. And then, to his immense relief, he saw her emerge, her bearing triumphant as she strode towards the shuttle. As Zara approached, Kiran could see the Baron's broken form behind her, the once powerful ruler reduced to a pitiful, humiliated figure. With a sense of awe, Kiran realized that Zara had succeeded in her mission, toppling the tyrant's reign through the sheer force of her psionic might. "It's over, Kiran," Zara said, a weary smile spreading across her face. "The Baron has fallen, and our people are free." Kiran let out a shaky breath, a surge of relief and triumph coursing through him. Together, they had defied the odds and emerged victorious. Now, the path to a brighter future lay open before them. As Zara and Kiran's shuttle soared away from the crumbling remnants of the Baron's command center, a palpable sense of exhilaration and disbelief hung in the air. Their daring assault had been a stunning success, shattering the tyrant's ironclad grip on the galaxy and freeing Zara's people from his oppressive rule. Kiran stole a sideways glance at the young alien girl beside him, marveling at the profound transformation that had taken place. Gone was the helpless, paralyzed child he had first encountered. In her place sat a figure of immense power and authority, her psionic abilities unleashed to their fullest potential. "It's over," Zara murmured, her voice tinged with a mixture of relief and awe. "The Baron's reign of terror is finally at an end." Kiran reached out and placed a hand on her arm, squeezing gently. "You did it, Zara. You and our allies. You overthrew a cruel and tyrannical ruler through the sheer force of your will and your incredible powers." Zara met his gaze, her eyes shining with emotion Karan couldn't quite place. No, Karan, we did it, together. I could never have accomplished this without your unwavering support and your courage. Kiran felt a swell of pride and humility. I was just doing what I knew was right. You're the one who rallied our allies, who mastered your abilities to such an astounding degree. You're the true hero here. Zara shook her head, a faint smile playing at the corners of her lips. We're both heroes, my friend, and now the future of my people lies in our hands. Karan nodded solemnly, the weight of their newfound responsibility settling heavily upon his shoulders. What happens now? Now, Zara said, her gaze turning outward towards the vast expanse of space before them, we must rebuild. The Baron's empire has crumbled, leaving a power vacuum that will inevitably be filled by those who seek to exploit the chaos. We must ensure that my people are the ones to rise from the ashes, to forge a new era of prosperity and freedom. Karan could see the determination etched into Zara's features, the unwavering resolve that had carried them this far. And what will your role be in all of this? Zara reached out and grasped his hand, her grip strong and assured. I will take my rightful place as the leader of my people. With your guidance and support, Karan, I will guide them towards a brighter future, one where no one will ever again be subjected to the cruelty and oppression that I endured. Kiran felt a surge of pride and affection for the young woman beside him. Then I'll be by your side, Zara, every step of the way. We'll build a new, better world together, one that honors the strength and resilience of the human spirit and the incredible power of the mind. Zara's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. Thank you, Karan, for everything you've done and for everything you will continue to do. I couldn't have achieved this without you. As the shuttle continued its journey through the vast, uncharted reaches of space, Karan and Zara set their sights on the daunting task that lay ahead. The road to rebuilding and restoring their shattered empire would be long and arduous, fraught with challenges and obstacles at every turn. But in the face of such adversity, Kiran knew that the indomitable spirit and peerless psionic abilities of his newfound companion would be their greatest assets. Together, they would rise from the ashes of the Baron's downfall and forge a future that would stand as a testament to the transformative power of the human spirit and the boundless potential of the mind. The battle for freedom had been won, but the true work of rebuilding and shaping a better world was only just beginning.